1-2 count on John Prentice. Fastball outside, looks at it 2-2. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Ringelman's back on for his second inning of work. Got a night to fly out. Then Keegan got a double to left field. That's why he's on at second base. A strikeout by Sutherland. And then Wynn walked on 2 outs. And we're stated where we are right now. A 2-ball, 2-strike, 2-out count on the 8-hitter, John Prentice. Came in with a .275 average. Looks at a fastball away, 3-2. And AJ, 14 walks to 15 strikeouts. He has a pretty good eye at the plate.
Not going to get Prentice chasing, so Riggleman here. Full count, 2 outs. Going to have to make a very good pitch.
Prentice batting from the left side. Staring down is Ringelman. Full count pitch. Fastball low. Umpire doesn't give it to him. Another 2-out walk. And the bases will be full of Navigators with the 9-batter, DiLoretto, up at the plate. DiLoretto with a .209 average, 3 strikeouts on the season. He goes to Northeastern University. Ringelman's pitch count is a tad high for the second inning, 18 strikes to 17 balls. And DiLoretto swings at the first pitch but goes foul towards the right field line, 0-1.
A little bit rusty itself, so kind of put the cart ahead of the horse right there.
That's right, though. I think eventually, once it starts to go, we'll be able to get this going. Slider foul-tipped off the mitt of the glove of Ramsey. 0-2, and Ringelman needs to get a strikeout here. He just needs to get an out. But I think a strikeout might be able to get his confidence maybe a little bit more of a boost because he started out pretty hot. Got the first 3 outs, a ground down, 2 flyouts, and then now gave up the double to Keegan, and then two 2-out walks to Wynn and Prentice. Shadows all over Muzzy Field, covering every part. Slider outside. Strike 3. DiLoretto goes down looking, a big strikeout for Ringelman. Ring to the bottom of the second. 0-0's your score. Chris Sarnes and AJ Fabry on the call between the Bristol Blues and the Northshore Navigators. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. 1-1 count on Richard Brereton. He's at the plate. We have Haig on deck. Stevens in the hole. Hunt if any of them get on. And Ringelman had a little bit of a jam. Bases loaded, two out walks, but was able to get a strikeout of D. Loretto. That's what brought us right here. As a hard two-hopper to the third baseman, Varinos is able to get out the speedy Richard Brereton for the first out. Teddy Haig, the DH tonight, 3-11 with 13 strikeouts. He swings at the first pitch, and Murphy has it for an easy second out.
You can see, Chris, these Bristol hitters right now, ultra aggressive. Teddy Hayes swinging at the first pitch, and Brereton swinging at a pitch early on in the count. So we talked about it in the first. I think that's a game plan that Ronnie Coleman may have instituted early on, but right now it is not paying dividends. Maybe see if there's an adjustment made. Look at these hitters look a little bit more passive and wait, try to work these counts deeper, run O'Connor's pitch count up, and get a couple guys on base and make something happen.
Stevens looks at a first pitch breaking ball for a strike. And just like Ringelman, O'Connor working just as quickly. Stevens a 240 average, 1 home run, 12 RBIs. He's had 5 straight games with a strikeout and then 2 games with 2 strikeouts. 1-1 to the right fielder. Looked to be an off-speed pitch that bounced in front of the catcher but got away. 2-1.
Stevens, one of the participants in the All-Star festivities yesterday, registered just 1 at bat, 0 for 1. It was really up there, showcased his arm.
2-1 is skied in the air to right field. Coming in is Knight. He has it camped under. And 6 consecutive outs recorded by the pitcher O'Connor. We're heading to the top of the third. 0-0 your score here from historic Muzzy Field. One count. Sal Frelick at the plate. He grounded out to the pitcher back in the first inning. We have Frelick, Varinos, Murphy. If any of them get on, JP Knight. 1-1. Slashing towards left. Reynolds is going to go back, still back. Takes a couple steps to his right and makes the catch for the first out here in the top of the third. And I'll bring up Elias Varinos, getting his second at bat. He flew out to Osberg back in the first inning as well. Varinos with a 265 average, 12 RBIs, 25 strikeouts on the season. Riggleman ran into a little bit of a jam back in the second at the bases loaded, as Varinos also swings at the first pitch, giving chases Brereton, but he's going to run out of room. 0-1. Riggleman had a sluggish per se in the second with 2 out, 2 walks. When you look at the likes of Wynn and Prentice, but he was able to get a strikeout of D. Loretto, the 9-batter, be able to escape any sort of damage. Both teams with 1 hit apiece. The 0-1. Fastball inside. 1-1. Only hit for the Blues was Reynolds. Was able to hit a 2-out single to left, but was later picked off. Breaking ball high. 2-1. Bristol Blues come in third place in the FCBL. The Northshore Navigators in 6th, competing with Nashua for that 6-7 spot in the playoffs. The first 6 qualify. 2-1 fastball. Good pitch by Ringelman. 2-2.
You have to like what the league has done with this playoff format, especially the awkward number of teams, 7. It doesn't really play out to a perfect playoff situation, but really what they've done with the seeding and giving teams some advantages.
Leparco takes a couple steps, ranges, and makes the throw across the diamond. 2 down.
How it works out is the top 6 teams of the 7 make the playoffs. The numbers 1 and 2 seeds, they get first round byes, so they are automatically in the semifinals. But then teams 3 and 4 will play 5 and 6, and that is a 1-game elimination to move on. So certainly a high stakes game, similar to the wild card game in the MLB postseason. So a lot of emphasis on doing your work in the regular season and putting yourself in a good position to make a run in the postseason. And for both these teams, for Bristol and Northshore, they've got a lot of work to do here if they want to put themselves in some postseason contention. And Bristol trying to get them to crack that 2, maybe 1 seed, and Northshore staving off that 7th seed.
And Riggleman seems like he really has the ability back where he had in the first inning. He was throwing strikes. The second inning, a little bit of command issues, but right here, he's 1 strike away from getting a 1-2-3 inning. There was that slider inside, but a little bit of a fight by Murphy. Still 1-2.
Talking with Jordy Shiner before today's game. Riggleman, obviously a newcomer. He has 1 appearance, came against Pittsfield before the All-Star break, and he threw 1 inning. Coach Shiner was impressed with what he saw, kept the ball low in the zone.
Slicing, but going foul towards the North Shore bullpen. And Murphy, kind of that pesky hitter, as we saw before from Worcester, if you remember. Ricciardi continues to fight, does not really strike out a lot. Only has 19 on the season to 11 walks. 326 average. He's doing something right.
6th in the league in batting average, so you know he's a tough out anytime he's at the plate.
Pitch in the dirt. Nice job by Ramsey to kind of stuff that ball, even with nobody on base. I always thought that a catcher that you never want to be lazy when there's nobody on, because then it's almost like practice for you during a game.
Always want to have a sense of urgency behind the dish and always be at
2-2. It's going to be a chopper towards Osberg. Makes the throw to first. And a 1-2-3 inning for Ringelman. He had one in the first and now in the third. Running to the bottom of the third. 0-0 your score here from historic Muzzy Field. Ethan Nutt flew out to Freelick for the first out. We will have now 8-9 then top. Ramsey, Haig, and Osberg. So far, nothing as we're in the bottom of the third. Ramsey getting his first at bat. Came with a 318 average. Looks at a first pitch fastball outside. 0-1. O'Connor back on the mound for his third inning of work. Northshore Navigators with a 14-25 record. Bristol Blues 23-17. As Bryce had to kind of fight off that pitch inside, slicing towards the dugout. 0-2. On deck is Haig, and in the hole is Osberg. 0-2, and Ramsey goes up the middle for the second hit for the Bristol Blues. Nice two-out approach by Bryce Ramsey, the catcher for the Bristol Blues, to be able to shorten up his swing and take that breaking ball straight up.
And for Ramsey, he's stepping in and got a couple catchers on the roster, but Ramsey making the most of his opportunities and hitting 318. A good approach there at the bottom of the lineup, just going right back up the middle.
Andrew Haig, 186 average, 1 double, 1 triple, and 7 RBIs on the season. He also swings at the first pitch, and AJ made a great point back in the second inning that the Bristol Blues must have received the scouting report that O'Connor will throw first pitch strikes, so we must attack early. We've seen that from almost every batter from the Bristol Blues. O'Connor, a tall right-hander, over 6'6", weighs 220. 0-1. Another foul pitch into the dirt. 0-2. Might have gotten a piece of Haig's foot. On deck is Osberg looking for his second at bat. Northshore Navigators rank second in runs for pitching, second in earned runs, as well as second in walks. So a team that has struggled a little bit with their pitching. And Haig hits a chopper in the dirt, but off the glove of O'Connor as he was ranging with the left. And now runners on first and second with one down. And it's hard to be able to if you want to get after that ball with Haig's speed. Now the Blues have runners in scoring position with Ian Osberg at the plate. Osberg swung at the first pitch back in the first inning and lined it right to Murphy. We'll see right here if he has that same approach in his second at-bat. Keegan setting up outside. Changeup. Pulls it back into the strike zone. 0-1. Osberg, one of the 6 All-Stars for the Bristol Blues. O'Connor comes to the set, staring down the runner on second. There was another pitch in the dirt, but stuffed by Keegan. 1-1. Ramsey on at second with a 1-out single up the middle on a 2-strike hit. And then Haig hit a 2-chopper back to O'Connor, but was off his glove. And with Haig's speed, you're not going to be able to get him out. And a 1-1 count on Osberg. Fastball way outside, 2-1. In a game that has been a well-pitched on both sides between Ringelman and O'Connor. Verino's the only one playing close to the grass. Both shortstop, second, and first playing behind the runners. 2-1 changeup in the dirt, 3-1. And it looked to be a little bit that O'Connor might be kind of slowing down his delivery, trying to aim that pitch. As you've seen, the arm speed is not the same as his fastball, and you wonder if the Bristol Blues are kind of picking up on that. Now seeing him for the second time through the order. Starting out with Osberg. 3-1 coming. And a 5-pitch walk. And now the bases will be loaded full of Blues with Alex Laparco at the plate.
Down before this game, was talking with a couple of guys on the team. Part of this streak for Bristol has been timely hitting. Something that they struggled with when they were losing a lot of games, but winners of 5 of their last 6, it's been the timely hits. And we'll see if either Laparco or Reynolds can come up with one here.
Breaking ball nips the outside corner, went back door to Leparco. Blues with 3 hits, Northshore with 1. Ramsey on at third, Haig at second, Osberg at first. O'Connor coming to the set. Fires an 0-1 pitch and skies it into right field. Giving chase is Knight. He calls off Murphy and then makes the throw into the catcher Keegan. 2 down and a non-productive out for Leparco, as that's not going to be able to bring in a run.
Your mindset going into that with 1 out, bases loaded, you definitely want to elevate the ball, but for Leparco there, just not enough depth on that fly ball. Ramsey at third, not the best wheels, so definitely needed a lot more on that for a productive out, and now it's all on the shoulders of Dylan Reynolds here with 2 away.
And Reynolds did get the first hit for the Bristol Blues, but was later picked off in the first. See if he can kind of make up for that base running blunder. But he looks at a first pitch strike, 0-1. And this is a guy in Reynolds that it doesn't matter if he falls by an 0-2 or gets into a hitter's count 3-2. Only 1 strikeout in the season. He's had a heck of an approach for the Blues. Reynolds batting from the left side, down 0-1 in the count, bases full of Blues. Just gets a piece and kind of cues it foul. And as I mentioned, 0-2 when he falls by and he kind of shortens up. He's going to have to do that right here.
Backed into a corner right here. Reynolds just looking to make contact in any way, shape, or form. Trying to give this Bristol team an early lead here in the bottom of the third.
0-2 to Reynolds. Uncompetitive pitch, a fastball about 6 inches off the plate, 1-2.
That's one thing about Reynolds. It's one thing to make contact, but another thing that makes him so hard to strike out is he's got a great eye. He's not going to chase pitches out of the zone.
43rd pitch coming from O'Connor. Lays off the changeup. And that's a good eye from Reynolds. Kind of getting back now to an even 2-2 count.
You can hear throughout that stadium a bit of a groan there because that could have been called strike 3, but sigh of relief for Reynolds.
2-2. In on the hands. Keegan's going to go back a couple of steps, but it's going to be, I'd say, about 20 feet away from where he could be able to make that catch. Still be 2-2 with 2 outs.
Too light for Reynolds, but still 2 strikes, battling his way back down from 0-2, and really a huge pitch coming up in this game. Base hit essentially with Haig on second, leading to 2 runs.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Reynolds at the plate. He makes a good piece to center, but a little bit too much loft in the swing as Sutherland has it camped under and the Blues strand the bases loaded. Running to the top of the 4th. No score here from historic Muzzy Field. Chris Saunders and A.J. Fabry on the call between the Bristol Blues and the Northshore Navigators. Blues strand the bases loaded. 2 unproductive outs from both Alex Leparco and Dylan Reynolds flying it to right and center field. And the Blues miss an opportunity to be able to score, AJ, against the Navigators.
Tough break there, but really bases loaded with your 2 and 3 hitters up. You think you're going to come away with at least one, but a nice job of O'Connor to really pitch to contact, not try to overpower Leparco and Reynolds, and he really fooled both of them, able to get them and induce a couple lazy pop outs, and that's exactly what you want in a bases loaded situation. So credit to O'Connor, but like you said, Chris, a huge opportunity that was missed from Bristol. So we'll move on to the 4th with no score.
4-5-6, Knight, who's currently at the plate. Keegan on deck. Sutherland, who made the last out. 0-1, make it 0-2 on JP Knight on a good pitch from Riggleman. Back on for his 4th inning of work. And then Michael Wynn, one of the 2 All-Star selections from the Northshore Navigators, both he and Freelick were able to play in the All-Star game yesterday, which was moved because of the rain on Tuesday in Nashua. 0-2, nice breaking ball. Ramsey has to complete the process. That's a good start for Ringelman here in the 4th.
And talking with Coach Shiner before the game, you know, a new guy coming in, added to the roster just a week ago, that's Ringelman. Shiner was really impressed at his, not only his live arm, which, you know, Bristol has a bunch of those guys in their bullpen, but Ringelman's ability to locate pitches. He was down in the zone and throwing strikes, and really, that's all you can ask from your pitching staff right now is, you know, we've seen some Bristol relievers, even some starters, when they start losing control and walking guys, that's when games can get out of hand. And, you know, when you're giving teams 2, 3, 4 extra runs just because the base is on balls, that can really just eliminate any chance of your team either coming back or staying within arm's reach of kind of making a comeback. So for Riggleman, he's just got to keep on keeping on right now, pounding the zone.
And falling behind against Keegan, 2-1. In his first at-bat, he ripped a double down the left field line. Reynolds had to give chase and get that ball in quickly, but Keegan, who will be going to Vanderbilt in the fall, looks at now a 3-1 count, so you can see the kind of prototypical body. He looks like a Division I athlete. Ringelman pitching from the first base side of the rubber. Delivers the 3-1 pitch. Chopper to left. Leparco plays it back, but the umpire calls foul. And you see right there, Leparco, he has so much range to both his glove side and his arm side. No matter where the ball is hit, he has the ability to at least get to it. And then with his strong throwing arm, can make almost every play.
Supreme athlete, and what he lacks in size, he really makes up in athleticism. So Leparco always dangerous, whether he's on the base pads or in the field. Just a great all-around ball player, and that athleticism really could give you some hits. It can take away some hits on defense, so really an asset out there on the diamond.
And he walks Keegan. That's going to bring up George Sutherland. He struck out swinging back in the first, one of 3 strikeouts for Ringelman. And Sutherland, as he ended his first at-bat, starts his second with a miss, 0-1.
And I'll use the Keegan Vanderbilt segue and segueing into some Vanderbilt news for Bristol. If you're wondering, see Justin Henry Malloy not in the lineup tonight, and he's home right now in New Jersey after suffering a strained oblique before the All-Star break. That came on a swing at a bit of a tweak right in the abdomen and oblique area, so he'll be on the shelf for about a week. Not done for the season. He will be back, according to Jordy Shiner, to finish out the rest of the regular season and hopefully the playoffs for Bristol. But right now, at home, resting up, getting healthy, and for a guy with so much talent and so much promise, you never want to see an injury impeding anything in his young career. So Malloy definitely taking things easy and just getting healthy right now as he'll be headed down to Tennessee and Vanderbilt in the summer, or excuse me, this fall.
1-2, good piece from Sutherland towards right. Payne's going to give chase as it's going to get to the wall. Rounding second, getting to third is Keegan. He's going to be waved home. Ball cut off by Haig. He's going to keep it. And Northshore strikes first here in the in the top of the fourth. An RBI double off the bat of Sutherland. It's 1-0.
And Riggleman there just a little bit too predictable early in the count. Sutherland sitting fastball, and he drove that one into the power alley. And Keegan, good wheels for the incoming freshman. He was able to score all the way from first. As you saw Stevens there, he looked like he tried to deke Keegan into thinking that he was going to catch that one, but that kind of eliminated his chances of cutting that ball off before it got to the wall, which allowed Keegan to come all the way around to score. And now, after the Blues left the bases loaded in the bottom of the third, the Navigators take advantage. They're up 1-0.
Michael Wynn came in with a .258 average, 12 RBIs, 25 strikeouts. Looks at now an even count, 1-1. Ringleman gives up his first run of the season as a Bristol Blue and came off the bat of Sutherland. Scoring was Keegan. 1-0 is your score, and you know North Shore is trying to look for more. 1-1 to Win. Looks at a fastball outside, called a strike, 1-2. North Shore came in 1-5 in their last 6 games, 3-7 in their last 10. They lost 2 out of 3 against the Blues when Bristol was down there for a mini 3-game set. 1-2, swung at and misses. Win. Second strikeout, 4th of the game for Ringleman, with John Prentice at the plate.
It'll be interesting to see how long of a leash Ronnie Palmer will give his newcomer, Adam Riggleman. As Riggleman now above 70 pitches on the evening here in the 4th. So for a newcomer, not a lot of mileage on his arm so far. We'll see if Palmer really wants to ride him, but I see right now there is a little bit of stirring in the Bristol bullpen.
And it looks to be Casey Elbin, who the last time we saw him pitch was against the Suns, and he was brilliant and was able to get his first win as a starting pitcher July 3rd, I think it was.
Elbin, another guy, as the season wears on, maybe some guys are restricted because of innings limit from their college coaches. So Elbin, a guy who's been, mostly out of the bullpen, but like you said, got a spot start against Pittsfield and was magnificent, went 7 innings strong and earned the victory. So for him, another opportunity to come in. But right now, Riggleman really all around the strike zone, 42 strikes compared to 30 balls. So he's had to work hard here, and he's going to have to work hard to knock down Prentice, who's behind in the count 1-2.
So far, 1 run for North Shore, looking for more. Slap that into 11. That's going to drop. Reynolds tried to deke the runner advancing to third. Sutherland kind of, I don't want to say he so much fell for it because the third base coach was telling him to hold in, but a 2-out single by Prentice. It's going to be first and third with 2 down.
Yeah, Reynolds positioned properly right there, a little bit shallow there in left field, and that's exactly where that ball dropped in. Wasn't able to make the catch, obviously, but Reynolds playing so shallow, able to catch that ball on one hop and was not allowing Sutherland to come around to score. And normally when you have a guy in scoring position and 2 outs, a base hit is automatically a run. But with Reynolds playing where he was, able to save a run, and now Riggleman able to stop the bleeding here.
And DiLoretto back up again with runners in scoring position. The last time he was up was in the 2nd inning when the bases were loaded and he struck out looking. And I think Ringleman's probably looking for that same situation again to get the 9-hitter, DiLoretto, who now has 34 strikeouts on the season, to get out any which way. (1-0) to the 9-batter. Takes a fastball that was way outside the strike zone. 2-0.
And if you're Riggleman, you see him right now wiping the sweat off his forehead, really just trying to compose himself, because if there's one guy you want to go after, it's always the 9-hole guy. Avoid facing the top of the lineup in Sal Frelick, who's the most dangerous hitter in this lineup. So he's going to come here. If you're DiLoretto, you got to be watching for a fastball, which he fouls back. But again, Riggleman, settle down, throw strikes, get a ground ball, get something lazy here to get out of this jam and deal with Frelick in the top of the order in the next inning with nobody on.
Runner on first is Prentice. On third is Sutherland. Sutherland was able to get an RBI double. Scoring was Keegan, and it starts with a walk, and that's how Keegan got on. That's why Northshore is up 1-0. 2-1 count on the 9-batter. Fastball low, 3-1. Casey Elbin kind of warming up quickly, so you wonder if Ringelman walks this batter or more so just gives up any sort of damage to give Northshore more runs. You wonder if the trigger is going to be right to Elbin.
If you're DiLoretto, you got to be sitting on one pitch and one pitch only, 3-1.
Runner was hesitating and then started to go. The pitch is fouled back, 3-2. And you'll see that from Northshore, 108 stolen bases on the season. They broke their record, not FCBL, but their own record. It was 89 and 108 stolen bases. It's astounding, 14-25 to have that many stolen bases and wreak havoc on teams that maybe the record would be at least a little better.
Prentice with just 4 stolen bases on the season, so not the biggest threat in this lineup.
3-2 pitch. And just like in the second, it starts and ends in the fourth with a strikeout. 35th of the season on DiLoretto, and Northshore strands runners on first and third, but they do get one off the bat of Sutherland. Scoring was Keegan on a double. It's 1-0. We're heading to the bottom of the fourth from historic Muzzy Field. Bottom of the fourth, 1-0 is George scored. George Sutherland, if you're just tuning in, got an RBI double that scored Keegan, the catcher for Northshore here at historic Muzzy Field, 1-0. We will have 4, 5, and 6. Brereton, Haig, Stevens, if any of them get on. Hunt will be at the plate, and Brereton, in his last at-bat, grounded out to the third baseman back in the second inning.
Brereton aggressive in his first at-bat. Looked like he was hunting for one pitch earlier in the count. We'll see if he changes here now that O'Connor is in his 4th inning of work, but does not look to be so as he was swinging first pitch, fouled that one into the dirt behind home plate.
And you have to be impressed with O'Connor. He's been working quickly. He's been able to escape a little bit of damage, but not a lot of guys on the base paths compared to Ringelman, who has had runners on first and third back in the top of the fourth, and then the second inning had the bases loaded. 1-0 to Brereton. Pitch is fouled back, 0-2.
And O'Connor a little bit deceiving on the mound. I mean, you see, that big 6'3", 6'4" frame. You would assume kind of a fireballer, but really coming in there with a lot of soft stuff, a lot of deception, and really just nibbling off the edges, and so far it's worked.
0-2, another fastball in on the hands, but Brereton able to fight it off. And I think, AJ, you can kind of add to that where he's very deliberate, and it looks very, I don't want to say slow, but he kind of takes his time, and then it kind of jumps at you. So maybe these hitters are having a tough time being able to pick up that fastball or, that arm slot. 0-2 to Brereton, and he rips it foul down the third baseline. And the home plate umpire called it immediately. But Brereton, that was impressive. On the hands, and was able to pull that barrel inside enough. Almost had it fair.
Not only on the hands, but high, too. So that's one of the toughest pitches for a hitter to get his hands around, but up in the chest area. But quick hands from Brereton. A little bit too quick there as the bat head just a little bit too out in front. Pulled that one, just landed foul, but able to stay alive in the count.
0-2 fastball outside. Must have been low, 1-2. And I'm not surprised when you see how fast Brereton was able to rip that pitch down the third baseline and just went foul. That you would maybe try to expand and go away. They're going back in. Slider, it's going to be slowly hit to Frelick. Makes a high throw, and that's going to pull DiLoretto off the bag. That should go down as an error against Frelick. And Brereton will be on at first.
I think Frelick just underestimated Brereton's wheels there, as it was a pretty routine ground ball. A little bit towards his right in the hole, but routine nonetheless. But Frelick taking his time and saw that he had to rush that throw over there, and that's why it was over the head of DiLoretto. And now with Brereton aboard and the meat of this Bristol lineup coming up, could be a rally brewing here in the fourth.
Do you remember on the 4th of July when Frelick kind of bobbled the ball in the later parts of the innings? We've seen him a couple times. Shortstop's been a little shaky for him. Pitch in the dirt. Brereton's going. Throw to second. Nice throw from Keegan, and that's why he's going to Vanderbilt in the fall. That was a plus arm. A pitch in the dirt had the precise footwork to be able to get Brereton on a strong throw, and Murphy applied the tag.
Yeah, a bit of an awkward play there from Brereton. I'm not sure if he got a bad read or if it was a delayed steal, but definitely a late jump, and he was gunned down by Prentice behind the dish. No shot for him.
Haig fouls the pitch back, 1-1, and Keegan just picked up his Frelick teammate. Because of Frelick's throwing error, that's why Brereton was on at first. But Brereton kind of going on instinct. As soon as that pitch was in the dirt, he was going, and you can't fault him for that. But Keegan had to make a precise throw, and he did, to be able to get him out. To the right side, ranging, nice play by Murphy to dive, throws on the run, and just being able to stay on the bag is DiLoretto.
Wow. That was an action-packed ground ball right there. The throw from Murphy pulled DiLoretto. He had to rush it over, and DiLoretto looked like he was stretching across to his right, and that's right where Teddy Haig was crossing the path. It almost looked like DiLoretto socked Haig in the face, but looks like everyone's okay. He got up and able to walk off the field safely.
And Murphy kind of was throwing a little bit too on his back leg, and that had a little bit of like two-seam movement to the glove side. Stevens looks at a first pitch slider, 0-1.
That'll just go down as a 4-3 in the book, but sometimes the book doesn't always tell the story of the play, Chris.
Nice pick by Keegan, 1-1. And we've seen Murphy, too. I mean, we mentioned about Frelick and a little bit of his miscues back on the 4th of July. Murphy's made quite a few plays, at least here at Muzzy Field.
Always a luxury to have a rangy second baseman. Everybody talks about the shortstop being the best athlete on the field, but you got to give some love to the middle infielder on the right side of the field who can range and take away base hits like he just did there for Haig.
2-1 by Stevens, kind of fouled off his front foot. 2-2 is the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1-0. Northshore is up. They have 3 hits and 1 error. The Bristol Blues have 3 hits, no runs, and no errors. Chris Saunders and A.J. Fabry on the call. Between the Bristol Blues currently in 3rd place in the FCBO against the Northshore Navigators, fighting for 6th place against the Nashua Silver Knights. Pitch coming to Stevens. He hard hits it to left and gets past the shortstop Frelick. A 2-out single for the right fielder.
So a bit of an unlucky inning here for Bristol. Brereton leading things off, reaching on an error. He was thrown out by Prentice behind the dish on what looked like an attempted stolen base, trying to take advantage of a bit of a wild pitch. And then Teddy Haig looked like he might have had a ground ball into right field, but it was Murphy who came around to corral that one. So what could have been a rally brewing for Bristol is now just 2 away here in the 4th with a man on. And that'll bring Ethan Hunt to the plate.
Just want to make a correction. It was Prentice that threw out Brereton. It wasn't Keegan. Keegan is the DH tonight. He's not catching. Prentice is behind the plate. Hunt flew out back in the 3rd inning. 0-1 pitch, skies it into right field. Murphy and Knight. Knight's going to call off Murphy. And the side is retired, and the Blues will start out promising with Brereton on at first, as AJ mentioned, was thrown out by Prentice. And then Stevens with a 2-out single through the 5.5 hole. But then Hunt flies out to right. 1-0, we're heading to the top of the 5th here from historic Muzzy Field.
Top of the 5th action here in Muzzy Field. The Blues trailing the Northshore Navigators 1-0. And a new pitcher here for Bristol. It'll be reliever Casey Elbin out of West Virginia Tech. Chris, I believe you have the line on Adam Riggleman's evening.
4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 of them earned, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 18 batters faced, escape damage both in the 2nd and the 4th. In the 4th had runners on 1st and 3rd, and the 2nd had the bases loaded.
Elbin will face the top of the North Shore lineup. It'll be Sal Freelick, the shortstop, leading things off as he takes a strike one, as Ramsey could not corral that one behind the plate. Nonetheless, 0-1 the count to the shortstop, headed to Boston College next year.
Freelick leads the North Shore Navigators with 7 home runs from the shortstop position.
The 0-1 misses outside 1-1, and not only does he lead his team in home runs, he's tied for the lead in the entire league in home runs with 7. So Freelick really putting up an MVP-type season as he takes off speed inside, called strike 1 and 2. He's at 385, 7 home runs, 34 ribbies, 28 runs scored, and 13 stolen bases as he fouls that one back to stay alive. And as we said, tied for the most home runs. He's 2nd in the league in batting average, and he's tied for the most RBIs. So he may be young, but certainly producing at a high level here in the FCBL. The 1-2 from the righty, swung on, hit to the right side. Brereton will field and take it himself for the first out of the inning. Elbin off to a good start.
And Elbin has the classic 3-pitch mix, fastball, curveball, changeup. He doesn't really show the changeup as much unless he's trying to get either a soft ground out or if he's in trouble. But mainly his bread and butter is the fastball and the curveball. He had that against the Suns, and you saw how effective he was.
That'll bring up Northshore third baseman Elias Varinos. As he squares to bunt, he lays one down the third base side. It's a beauty. Laparco charges in, but he cannot field it. So Varinos is aboard. Looked like it was going to be a tough play, but I think that will go down as a base hit, Chris.
It should. I mean, that's not a play that can be made by every third baseman. Even a guy like Manny Machado would probably find that very difficult, where he probably would eat it as well. Because you're talking about a play Laparco is having to charge in all the way from third base. The only play you have is to barehand it. That's a hit all the way. But a precise bunt from Varinos.
That'll bring up Joey Murphy, the second baseman. Pitch just outside, 1-0. And I think if Laparco, even if he fielded that one cleanly, I don't think he would have had much of a chance to get the speedy Varinos. So he is aboard off first. The 1-0 lifted down the right field side. Foul. Brereton giving chase, but it'll run out of room as the count evens 1 ball and 1 strike apiece.
No, I think this at bat in particular, when you look at Murphy and the way his approach is, he chokes up typically. He doesn't really have a big swing, more of a compact type of swing from the right side. Elbin likes to throw that pitch inside, so it'll be more so the fastball. It'll be interesting to see what the pitch selection will be between Elbin and Ramsey here.
The 1-1 grounded to short. Osberg fields, could be 2. He steps and fires in time. Ian Osberg fielded it, stepped on second himself, and threw a bullet over to first to Richard Brereton to complete the double play. And Casey Elbin gives up a bunt base hit, but that's erased by the double play to end the inning. So we'll head to the bottom half of the 5th. The Blues looking for some offense here. They're trailing 1-0 here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back. Bottom half of the 5th. Matt O'Connor still on the bump for Northshore. His 5th inning of work, and he'll go against Bryce Ramsey, Andy Haig, and Ian Osberg. Ramsey swings at the first pitch, fouls it back. 0-1 the count to the catcher out of the University of Hartford.
And Ramsey had the ability to kind of shorten up on an 0-2 breaking ball, took it up the middle for one of the 4 hits for the Blues thus far, but they're down 1-0.
Takes low and away. Ball 1, 1-1 the count. And looking at O'Connor's line right now, he has been efficient tonight. 43 strikes, just 20 balls. So he's been pouring it in the zone, and Bristol just really has not had an answer. As they've only threatened really one time, leaving the bases loaded back in the 3rd. The 2-1. Swung on, chopped down the third base line, but foul as the count evens 2-2.
When you look at a guy like O'Connor, he's above 6'6". He's tall. He's, I don't want to say large, but he's a thick kid. And you typically think that, okay, I'm facing a guy 6'6". He's going to be throwing at 95. O'Connor doesn't do that.
Check swing from Ramsey, staying alive.
But when you look at how far home plate and the mound is 60 feet 6 inches. Well, when O'Connor's releasing the ball towards home plate, it's already, maybe 5 or 6 feet towards home plate as he's releasing it. So that ball is really jumping at you. So instead of it being, let's say, 88, it might be 92.
The 2-2 misses, skipped in the dirt. Good pick there from Prentice. So Ramsey has run the count full here to lead off the inning, trying to spark a rally for Bristol. 4 hits, but nothing to show. The payoff pitch swung up the middle. Frelick is there. He'll field and fire in time. So Ramsey is cut down on the 6-3 putout.
But just like his first at-bat back in the third, went up the middle, and that's not a bad approach to have with 2 strikes, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be hard for either the shortstop or the second baseman to be able to get to that consistently. So Bryce Ramsey, we haven't seen him a lot here at Muzzy Field, but when we have, he's put up good at-bats, and we can see why he's one of the big-time catchers at his college.
9-hole hitter Andy Haig takes high, ball 1. The second baseman with a base hit back in the third. Glance one off the glove of O'Connor. Was able to beat out any throw for the infield single. The 1-0 swung on, grounded foul. 1-1 the count.
And you mentioned something earlier right before the game where Haig came in with a 186 average. You felt like it might have been a little bit higher. Why is that?
I really just think it's the energy that Haig brings to the lineup, and you see, a little infield single off the glove of O'Connor. It's little hits like that maybe have kind of fallen by the wayside. As a 1-1 pitch, off speed, misses, must have been inside, 2-1. But for Haig, just had those energetic plays kind of fall by the wayside. But maybe those infield singles start dropping for him, and he's able to pick his average back up as he swings through a high fastball to even the count, 2-2.
And I think it's good, too, when you look at Haig, because he really didn't get a lot of at-bats at UConn, and now he's really getting that work that he needs as he's going into his sophomore year with the Huskies.
2-2 misses outside, so O'Connor again going full count. Second batter in a row here to Andy Haig. The payoff pitch, off speed, check swing, and the field umpires say that he committed. So Haig down on strikes as it looked like he was handcuffed on an inside fastball, unable to hold up for the second out of the inning.
And that's the ability of being able to pick up the ball out of the hand. Haig really did not look comfortable in that at-bat, and that can be said for a lot of these Bristol Blues batters. And now we're back up to the top with Osberg.
Osberg takes outside, lined out to second base, back in the first, and walked in the third. The 1-0, cut on, ripped down the line, foul. As the count evens, 1-1 strike for Osberg coming into this one. The All-Star hitting .307 with 11 ribbies and 30 runs scored. That's good for 4th best in the league, along with hits, as he ranks 4th. Takes ball outside. So one of the better table setters in the league, the sophomore to be at Quinnipiac University. The 2-1 misses low and inside, so 3-1 now to the shortstop.
In the last 7 days, Osberg 6 for 19, 3 stolen bases and 3 walks.
3-1 misses low and in, so Osberg walks for the second time tonight. He'll reach with 2 outs here. That'll bring up third baseman Alex Leparco.
And the last time this same thing happened before, where Osberg walked back in the third, Leparco flew out to right field, and that was an instance where the Blues had a chance to be able to drive in at least a couple, but you had the flyout by Leparco and then another one by Reynolds to center, and that ended the threat.
Leparco takes upstairs, ball 1, and you always hear from pitching coaches and managers what you hate to see is leadoff walks and 2-out walks. So the Blues just looking for any which way to get on the board, see if they can take advantage from O'Connor's 2-out walk, as that one gets by Prentice. That'll allow Osberg to move 90 feet. He is now in scoring position, Chris, and
Laparco again in a situation where a base hit could tie this game up.
And now there looks to be a little bit of bullpen action going up as now the pitching coach for the North Shore Navigators is going out to talk with his tall righty O'Connor. But I would have honestly have started warming somebody up as soon as even you look at someone like Haig. I understand it was the 9 batter, and you're like, okay, you know, what's the 9 batter, whatnot. Danny Ryan's warming up currently in the bullpen for the North Shore Navigators. But going back to O'Connor, you could tell in this inning alone the velocity wasn't there, and the command has been shaky compared to what we've seen from the first 4 innings from O'Connor. So now, how much can you squeeze out of the tube because you can't get it back? And a single right here from Laparco will tie this game.
82 pitches now for O'Connor. So the big righty laboring here. 2-0 the count to the always dangerous Alex Laparco, the Bristol Blues third baseman, looking to tie this game up with one swing of the bat. The 2-0 pitch swung on into the hole. That'll get through for a base hit. Osberg being waved around. The throw coming in. It's not in time. So Alex Laparco, a big 2-out single, scoring Ian Osberg, and this game is tied at 1 run apiece.
And I mentioned about the toothpaste, can't put it back. 2-out walks, AJ, you talked about it as well. They are killers. Leadoff walks and 2-out walks because they always find a way to score. And again, Laparco, he's at third. A single from Reynolds will also score him.
You're exactly right. Dylan Reynolds to the plate now. Came up in the third, bases loaded, 2 outs, but flew out to center field. Another opportunity here as he takes strike 1 from O'Connor, who is still in the game now, well above 80 pitches. And the Navs banking on him to get out of this inning here to stop the bleeding. The 0-1 pitch misses inside, 1-1 the count. Reynolds singled back in the first, but was then picked off, and that ended the inning. And again, flew out back in the third with the bases loaded and 2 outs, trying to make up for those mistakes here, give his team the lead. As he takes strike 2, you can see Reynolds shaking his head a little bit, did not agree with that call, Chris.
That was a pitch that looked maybe a little bit down, but close enough for the umpire to call a strike. But Reynolds down 0-2, or rather 1-2, nothing that he hasn't seen before.
O'Connor sets and deals off speed. Hacked foul by Reynolds. Good job just to get a piece of the off-speed pitch to stay alive.
And Ryan is warming up quickly in the bullpen for North Shore, so this could be the last batter that O'Connor will face.
We'll do it again here. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch misses outside as the count evens 2-2. 1 run already in for Bristol after a 2-out walk to Osberg, a wild pitch, and a base hit into left field. We're all knotted up here. 1 run apiece. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The pitch swung on, lined up the middle, and through into center field. Laparco will come around. He will score as the throw is cut to catcher, but Reynolds will move to second. So another 2-out base hit, this time from Dylan Reynolds. And the Blues now take a 2-1 lead here in the 5th.
And I think Reynolds is showing exactly why he was a potential snub for the All-Star game. Over 300 batting average, has only struck out once on the season, and has really showed the ability to put the bat on the ball, and has done that all season. And if it wasn't for an early slump, he might have very well have been in the game. But, hey, why not take out your anger on the rest of the league?
Reynolds with his 12th RBI of the season. That'll bring up Rich Brereton, the cleanup hitter. Same situation, 2 outs, a man on second as he swings at the first pitch off speed to short. Frelick fields and fires in time. So Brereton is retired, but not before a 2-out rally for Bristol. A walk to Ian Osberg, a wild pitch, A base hit from Leparco scored the shortstop to tie things at 1, and a base hit from Dylan Reynolds gave Bristol the lead. It's 2-1 as we head into the 6th. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Top of the 6th here at Muzzy Field. 2-1, the Blues leading after a 2-out rally in the bottom of the 5th. And for the Northshore Navigators, it'll be J.P. Knight leading things off. The right fielder takes ball 1 from Casey Elbin in on his 2nd inning of work out of the bullpen.
And the shutdown inning for Bristol starts now. They get 2 runs to lead this game by 1.
The 1-0 swung on and missed, 1-1.
And this kind of reminds me a little bit of the 4th of July game where they were ahead. They kind of fought back and then were ahead all the way into the 8th inning. And then you had the throwing error by Malloy that set up the go-ahead run at the time off of Freelick.
The 1-1 way up inside. Knight able to flinch out of the way. 2-1 the count.
See, I'm okay with that because Elbin's not going to overpower you. He needs to strike some fear in the batter. Now that kind of opens up a little bit that outer half of the plate because now the batter is going to back up maybe an inch or 2. That could help Elbin.
The 2-1 swung on, lifted into the right center gap. Giving chase is Stevens, and that ball is off the wall. Hunt will field and fire. Knight motoring towards third, and he's in there with a leadoff triple. So an absolute bomb off the bat of J.P. Knight leads to a triple for the right fielder. Nobody out here, a man on third.
And J.P. Knight, who goes to Tufts University, didn't look like he was, as I mentioned, I thought there'd be at least a tad bit of fear. He didn't at all and took that fastball all the way into the wall. For a second, it looked like it went out.
Yeah, Peyton Stevens looked like he gave up on that ball. I thought that one may have cleared the fence, but Hunt able to field that one off the base of the wall. Casey Elbin deals ball to designated hitter Dominic Keegan, 1-0. But you talked about it, Chris, the shutdown inning, but the Navs threatening almost immediately here after the leadoff triple. Elbin deals outside, 2-0 the count to Keegan.
I think we should start a class about the shutdown inning because I feel like every game we talk about it.
Well, it's easier said than done, Chris, and right now the Blues definitely in some trouble playing their defense back, so they will give up the run 4 and out here. The 2-0 smack foul right back here towards us in the press box, 2-1 the count.
Well, you can make a case right now that if Elbin can find a way to get Keegan out and keep the runner at third, the next 2 batters, I mean, Sutherland did have an RBI single back in the 4th inning, but beyond that, he did strike out in the 2nd.
2-1 in there, called strike, 2-2. Keegan with a double back in the 2nd and a walk back in the 4th, and he came around to score Northshore's only run of the day. The 2-2 pitch misses upstairs as the count runs full to the DH.
You saw Ramsey kind of have to move up a little bit. If that pitch was a little bit more down and Ramsey didn't have to moved from his crouch. You might have had a strike 3 call, but the umpire did not give it to Elbin.
The 3-2 pitch swung on and miss. Keegan down on strikes, and exactly what the doctor ordered there for Elbin is he needed a strikeout because pretty much any other batted ball would have given the Navs a run. But a big strikeout there for the first out of the inning for Elbin. One away. Knight still at third as Ronnie Palmer will pull his defense in for center fielder George Sutherland. First pitch misses low and inside, 1-0.
And see right there what you're going to see from the shortstop and the second baseman, Osberg and Haig. Every time that Ramsey's going to throw it back to Elbin, they're going to kind of slowly go behind him just to make sure that the ball does not go off the glove of Elbin and the runner will score.
The 1-0 swung on and missed, 1-1. So you can see Elbin here. A little bit of pressure applied from Northshore, but he is responding with a strikeout of Keegan, and 1-1 the count now to Sutherland, the lefty.
And that swing, his head completely flew open. I would throw that same pitch again.
Uh-oh. Off speed, gets by Ramsey, and that allowed Knight to score. Not what Elbin was looking for there. It seemed like he was gaining some momentum, but a wild pitch allowing Knight to come around to score. And just like that, it's tied right back up, 2-2.
As you said, AJ, uh-oh. That's right. That pitch, that was a curveball that popped out of Elbin's hand. He didn't have the conviction to come down on it. It looked to be that he was trying to guide that pitch and make it too much of a perfect pitch rather than just trying to get on the backdoor side. Now we have ourselves a tie game.
2-1 to Sutherland, misses low, 3-1. And you said that first strike call, or excuse me, that first swinging strike, it looked like it must have been a changeup as Sutherland was way out ahead. And I know, Chris, you were calling for that pitch again, but could not handle the curveball as that got over Ramsey and towards the backstop. So an easy run scored there for Northshore as Sutherland takes ball 4. So he is aboard with 1 away, and that'll bring up Michael Wynn, the left fielder.
And Justin Rouse is now starting to warm up in the bullpen. But he hasn't really started throwing. He's just stretching. So Elbin right now, this is his game. He's in line if North Shore can tie this game, or rather get the go-ahead run. He's in line for the loss.
Wynn takes low, ball 1. Wynn, the all-star, 0 for 1 on the day. He struck out back in the 4th and walked in the 2nd. So a contactless day for the left fielder. Looking to get on the board here, the 1-0. Looked like that one was low, just missed the strike zone. As you can see, Elbin a little bit dismayed at that call, 2-0 the count.
And that's where Elbin kind of has he runs into problems when an umpire, if he doesn't get ahead early and the umpire's not going to give him that close strike because he's fallen behind quite a few batters, that's when he has to try to be able to fight back, and he doesn't have the fastball for it.
The 2-0 catches the outside corner, 2-1 now.
And he's going to have to do that against one of the all-stars for the North Shore Navigators, Wynn, who came with a .258 average.
The 2-1 swung on line, foul down the left field line, out of play. Wynn out of Wofford College, a rising sophomore, 12 RBIs, 15 runs scored. Some numbers for Elbin. He's 2-0 on this season and 11 appearances, but a 4.26 ERA, trying to limit the damage here in the top of the 6th. The 2-2 pitch misses high as the count runs full on Michael Wynn. Elbin gets the sign from Ramsey. The 3-2 runner going, and that one's popped up. It'll stay in the infield. Brereton calling everyone off, and he's going to make the play for the second out of the inning. So Wynn is retired. 2 away here, and that'll bring up the catcher, John Prentice.
And you got to give Brereton credit because he was going back and kind of backpedaling a couple steps. As that ball, the wind's really not blowing, but had a little bit of carry going back, and Brereton was able to make the catch.
Prentice, the catcher, a single back in the fourth and a walk back in the second as he takes a ball outside. And the Blues and the Navs, they're no strangers to some close contests as the season series is split right down the middle, 3 games apiece. And a lot of those games have been 1-run, 2-run games as Prentice takes inside. So it looks like we have another barn burner on our hands between Bristol and Northshore.
Well, think about it during their 3-game set, 5-3, 3-1. That game was close. Then you had the 4th of July game as well. So
that was another 1-run game. So both these teams going toe-to-toe every time they meet.
See, that swing right there, I don't understand. I get it's a 2-0 count. You're trying to swing out of your shoes. But you're a guy in Prentice who, no offense, not a lot of power. So why not try to be able to shorten up the stroke and just try to think, okay, up the middle, not trying to go ya-ya.
The 2-1 catches the inside corner. Prentice, not a fan of that call. So he has some words for the home plate umpire. But Elbin able to battle back after going down 2-0 in the count. Evens the count at 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Sutherland off first. The pitch misses up and away as the count runs full.
Third batter in a row that's been a 3-2 count. And with the 9 batter on deck, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, 1 looking, 1 swinging in DiLoretto.
Elbin misses up and away, ball 4. His second walk of the inning, and that'll bring out Jordy Shiner to have a few words. And you have to think, well, I was wrong, actually. No one really stirring down in the Bristol bullpen. So like you said earlier, Chris, this is Casey Elbin's inning right now, and we're not sure if he's going to be out there for the next, but with 2 men on here and 2 outs, certainly a tricky situation for the righty.
It does leave you to ponder, both Jordy Shiner as well as Ronnie Palmer, that if this wasn't the type of game where DiLoretto was struggling 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, if this was any other batter, let's say he was 2 for 2 today, or at least has shown the ability to put the bat on the ball, you wonder if Casey Elbin is in this game right now facing the 9 batter. I get to the 9 batter, and he struggled, but change the story a little bit. Would he be out there? That's the question.
Sutherland off of second. Prentice off of first. The pitch to DiLoretto misses inside, 1-0. And you could see DiLoretto crowding the plate a little bit. Kind of hung in there, maybe trying to take one for the team, load the bases for the top of the order. But that ball just missed, 1-0 the count. Elbin deals, swung on and fouled back here, 1-1 to DiLoretto, the first baseman. As you mentioned, 2 strikeouts on the day. The first one was looking back in the second and then swinging back in the fourth. So if you're Elbin here, you definitely want to be aggressive and attack this 9-hole hitter from Northshore.
And we haven't seen a curveball since the wild pitch that he threw that scored the second run for Northshore. It's been all fastballs.
Elbin steps off, and it's a good point, Chris. And
it's dangerous. I'm telling you right now, AJ, and you know this too. When you know a pitcher only has 1 pitch, that's like a shark that smells blood in the water.
The 1-1, there's the off speed, but that misses inside, and a loopy curveball there from Elbin. And
not a lot of bite.
Yeah, and if that's left out there over the plate, that could be some damage from North Shore, but Elbin a little bit fortunate there that one was off the plate. The count now 2-1 to DiLoretto. The pitch way inside, and that gets a piece of DiLoretto. And Elbin, he's been flirting with that inner half this entire inning, trying to brush Knight off the plate earlier, and then earlier in that at bat to DiLoretto looked like he was gonna catch some cloth there, but that one hit DiLoretto on the hip. That'll load the bases, and that'll be it for Casey Elbin. As Ronnie Palmer, a slow walk, and he will go to the bullpen. Looks like it will be Justin Rouse coming on to put out the fire here. 1 run already in for Northshore. 2-2 the score, all tied up with 2 outs. The bases are loaded. Ronnie Palmer looking for Justin Rouse to bail him out here in the top of the 6th. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. Justin Rouse now in. He's going to face Sal Frelick, the top of the order for Northshore. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Rouse deals fastball strike 1 to the shortstop.
And I think this is a type of situation where Rouse can feed off of this. He's an adrenaline pitcher. Bases loaded, 2 outs. You know he's going for the strikeout, and he has that high-octane fastball with the tilt of his slider.
The 0-1. There's that slider just off the outside corner. 1-1 the count.
And Rouse, last time he pitched was on July 13th at the Navigators through 1 inning, surrendered 1 hit, faced 4 batters, didn't get a strikeout, but pitched well, and he's done a fine job out of the bullpen.
The 1-1 catches the outside half, 1-2, and you can see that fastball is coming off with some steam right now, Chris. 1-2 the count now to Frelick.
And his best pitch is the fastball. It's just a matter of, are you going to go inside and try to jam him, or are you going to try to get him to chase above the zone?
The 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, so Justin Rouse called on to put out the fire, and he does just that, striking out Sal Frelick, the leadoff man for Northshore. But the Navs get 1 back in the 6th. Tie ball game here, 2-2. As we head to the bottom half of the 6th. Here at Muzzy Field, Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 6th here at Muzzy Field. New pitcher in for Northshore, number 11, the righty, Danny Ryan. He'll face Teddy Haig, Peyton Stevens, and Ethan Hunt as Haig takes strike one.
O'Connor's line, 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 2 walks, 1 strikeout, 22 batters faced.
Haig takes ball 1. Haig 0 for 2 on the day. Couple of ground outs to second base, looking for his first base hit of the evening. The 1-1 swung on, lifted down the line, foul. 1-2 the count to the designated hitter out of Yale. Ryan making his 9th appearance on the season, 0-2 with an 8.79 ERA. So the Blues looking to break this tie here. 2-2 your score, bottom 6th. That one's lifted to the right side, ground ball fielded, and on to first. Haig is retired for the first out of the inning, a 4-3 putout.
And for the people back home, if they ever want to play infield, I think you got to look at a guy like Murphy, because you saw a play like that, he wasn't taking big strides towards that ball as he got close to it. He did kind of like a semi-chop step, as you see running backs do when they're doing their warm-up drills, and he was able to set his feet precisely and throw on the run. This second baseman for North Shore, very impressive.
Peyton Stevens takes outside, ball 1. Stevens 1 for 2 on the evening. Base hit back in the 4th and a fly out in the 2nd. The right fielder, all-star out of Central Connecticut State. Ryan deals, swung on and missed. A big healthy hack there from Stevens. 1-1 the count.
And Stevens will do that. He has quite a few strikeouts this season, 33, and he struck out in 5 straight games. 2 games he struck out twice, so he doesn't get cheated, but he's going to take his hacks.
The 1-1 off speed, lifted right side, foul out of play. 1-2 the count.
And the next developmental stage for Peyton will be the 2-strike approach. We've seen a lot of times where he will go down swing. I don't know the exact numbers for all of his strikeouts, how many of them are via the swing, but that's definitely something he's going to work.
A 1-2 off speed, way inside, 2-2.
Hunt on deck, Ramsey in the hole, and if Ramsey can come on with somebody on base, his approach has been up the middle, and it's worked once, and almost for a second time in his second at bat.
2-2 check swing. It looked like he went, and he did. Stevens knew it. So he is down on strikes for the second out of the inning, and that streak will continue. 6 straight games in which Stevens has struck out, and that'll bring up Ethan Hunt.
And Ryan throws a little bit from a low 3/4 arm slot, or rather,
Ball low.
I would say about low 3/4. I was thinking maybe high 3/4, but he hides the ball so much that you don't pick up his slot until right when he delivers, and you can see why Peyton struck out on the fastball in.
1-0 fastball misses up and away. 2-0 to Hunt, the center fielder, 0 for 2. A pop out in the 3rd and a fly out in the 4th. Looking to get on the board here. Start a rally here. 2-0. That one misses high. 3-0. And Chris, we saw the last rally for Bristol came with a 2-out walk. That led to a couple 2-out runs off the bat. An RBI from Leparco and Reynolds. The 3-0 pitch catches the plate, 3-1. And with Hunt's speed on the base pads, could possibly be a similar situation where a speedy guy on the base pads with 2 outs. The 3-1 called strike, 3-2, and you can see Hunt at the plate right now kind of looking to walk instead of swinging the bat a little bit, as that one was clearly a strike as he tossed the bat aside, a little bit overeager to get down to first base.
He better swing at any pitch close.
The 3-2 swung on and missed, but the ball gets away from Prentice all the way to the backstop, and Hunt is aboard without a throw. So A bit of an interesting at bat there. Looked like Hunt was looking at a couple of strikes right down the plate and then swung at a ball that was about 55 feet, not even close to being a strike, but hey, that's baseball sometimes, and Hunt is aboard with 2 away. That'll bring up Bryce Ramsey, 1 for 2 on the evening.
And Ramsey, as I mentioned before, both.
That ball gets behind Prentice. So another similar situation, almost eerily similar, Chris. Man gets aboard with 2 outs and nobody on, and a wild pitch advances him to second base. And now Ramsey, a base hit here, could give Bristol the lead.
There's a reason why the Navigators rank first in wild pitches. You can see right here. The stuff from some of the pitchers for Northshore are there, but as we've seen quite a few times, both when Northshore has been here and also too even at their own home field, the communication between the catcher and the pitcher have not been there. And you've seen right here where it's come back to bite them, where the Blues scored a couple in the 5th, and now right here, Ramsey, his approach has been up the middle. A single with Hunt's speed could drive him in or at least make it close.
Ramsey getting the start behind the dish today. A chance to come through in a big way. The 1-0 catches the top corner of the strike zone. 1-1 the count to Ramsey. Looking for his second hit of the evening and looking for his first RBI of the season. We said he's only gotten a couple spot starts. As that ball kicks up way behind Prentice, and Hunt is going to round third. He's on his way to home, and he will score. How about that, Chris? Coming all the way from second base on a wild pitch. Ethan Hunt making things happen. 3-2 as the Blues take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th.
If they're going to gift wrap you a run, you might as well take it, and that's what happened. That was a breaking ball that kind of spun what looked to be at least 50 feet, and you could hear the pitcher for the Northshore Navigators telling him where it was, and Prentice couldn't find it.
The 2-1 to Ramsey now. Swung on up the middle, and that'll be through for a base hit. So Ramsey, 2 for 3 on the evening, and it looks like a base hit would have done the job anyway, but Ethan Hunt, a heads-up hustle play from the center fielder. We talked about him all the time, Chris. High-energy guy in the dugout and on the field, and you can see right there a bit of an awkward wild pitch off from Ryan, and that one skipped up over Prentice and was in the air for about 4 or 5 seconds of hang time, allowing Hunt to come around to score all the way from second base.
And the miscues right there, Prentice not being able to stop that ball. He was trying to pick it rather than stopping it with his chest, and by doing that, it touched home plate.
Andy Haig swings at the first pitch, fouls that one back, 0-1.
And now Northshore is going to have to fight back once again. They did that before, but the back and forth, the corral going on between both the Blues and Northshore is going to continue.
Haig 1 for 2 on the evening. The 0-1 off speed misses high. And you take a look at the bottom half of the order. You have Ramsey with a base hit, 2 base hits, excuse me. Andy Haig with a base hit of his own. Peyton Stevens in the 6 hole as Haig takes low 2-1. So the bottom half of the Blues lineup doing its job tonight, taking advantage of some Northshore miscues. The 2-1, another wild pitch from Ryan as Ramsey will advance to second easily. And that's 4 on the inning alone as the count runs to 3-1 on Haig.
And you saw Prentice kind of just throw his glove, and then as he was retreating back to get to the ball, his glove was on home plate. This is where you almost feel bad for for a catcher beyond Prentice, because the pitcher right now, he's shot putting the baseball 56 feet in front of home plate.
The 3-1 sliced foul, 3-2 now to Haig, and a couple of big wild pitches have come back to hurt Northshore in this inning alone, and possibility of another wild pitch allowing Ramsey to advance into scoring position. A base hit from Haig would extend this Bristol lead. The 3-2 misses outside, ball 4. So Haig is aboard here, and that'll flip things over to the top of the order. It'll be Ian Osberg for the Blues.
And Osberg has 2 walks himself, and the continuance of this North Shore Navigator team with the amount of walks that have been surrendered by the pitching staff alone, both from O'Connor, he only walked 2, and both of them were to Osberg, but then you look as well, Ryan not being able to find the zone, and that forces out the manager for North Shore.
Nobody really stirring in the bullpen right now for the Navigators, so it looks like this one's just a casual meeting, but North Shore trying to settle down their reliever, Danny Ryan, who has run into some trouble here. If you're just joining us, a couple of routine outs to start the inning, 2 outs quickly, and then Ethan Hunt struck out swinging, but the ball skipped away from John Prentice, the catcher, allowed him to advance to first. Another wild pitch allowing Hunt to advance to second, and then, what do you know, another wild pitch that skipped up in the air, and Ethan Hunt heads up play, advancing home, scoring all the way from second base on a wild pitch. So doing some damage, and now Ramsey leading off second and Haig off first. The pitch to Osberg catches the outside corner, 0-1 to the leadoff man.
And the Blues right now have to try to be able to get a couple more runs, because only being up by 1 with the way that the bullpen has been of late for the Blues, you want to try to be able to at least get a couple more to give them a longer leash.
The 0-1 slice down the left field line, but foul out of play. So Osberg quickly in an 0-2 hole here. And the way this game's gone, Chris, you would imagine that Bristol needs some insurance runs if they want to maintain this lead, as we're only in the bottom of the 6th. So a lot of game left to be played here at Muzzy Field. Ryan sets and deals. Osberg fists that one foul to stay alive. 0-2 the count.
And all 3 wild pitches from Danny Ryan have been to the glove side away in the left-handed hitter's batter's box, and that's exactly where Osberg is. So you wonder if maybe this might be the type of at-bat which Ryan needed, because now it forces him to have to try to keep that front shoulder back and have that follow-through towards home plate.
The 0-2 swung on, hit up the middle. Freelick is there. He flips to Murphy at second, and that will end the inning. But the Blues strike. They take advantage of a number of North Shore miscues, a couple of wild pitches, and Ethan Hunt scoring from second base on a wild pitch. Bristol leading now 3-2. We'll head to the 7th here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Back here in the top of the 7th here at Muzzy Field, Justin Rouse still in. He came on in the 6th with the bases loaded and struck out Sal Freelick to end the inning, as Elias Verino smacks that first pitch fastball into left field. So he's aboard with a leadoff base hit, and that'll bring up the 3-hole hitter, Joey Murphy.
And Verino's wasting no time. First pitch, and we know Rouse, he's going to come after you with that fastball, and kind of like a tomahawk swing from Verino's towards left field. And just like that, the Northshore Navigators now have a runner on at first base, and there's already bullpen action warming up for the Blues.
Murphy 0 for 3 on the day. He takes ball 1 up and in. Popped out to short in the first, grounded to short in the third, and then grounded into a double play. Ian Osberg fielded and took it himself. So Murphy trying to break out of this 0 for 3 slump here. The 1-0 pitch swung on, lifted into center field. Hunt is there. He will make the play for the first out of the inning. Good job there from Rouse. Able to induce a fly ball after the leadoff single, avoiding any further damage with nobody out. But now, with a man on first, 1 out here for J.P. Knight, who smashed a booming triple into the right center gap last inning. He eventually came around to score on a wild pitch. That tied the ball game up at 2. Rouse deals fastball inside, 1-0.
This might be a time for Rouse to try to break off a slider more on the outer half of the plate, because that was the pitch that Elbin missed, and it kind of hung out towards the upper half. If Rouse can keep it down, you might be able to get a soft ground ball towards Brereton at first.
Rouse checking on Varinos. Varinos 11 stolen bases on the year, and in a tight ball game like this, might see him on the move. The 1-0. Varinos is running, and Knight smashes that down the left field line. Varinos on his way to third, and he will be in there as Knight safely into second without a throw. His second extra base hit of the evening. A double down the left field line, and Knight using all sides of the field, Chris.
239 he came in, and if I didn't know what his batting average was, I would think he was batting over 300, because he is hitting the ball extremely hard. The exit velocity has to be somewhere above the high 90s. And you mentioned it before. The triple was a line drive, and so was that. And if it wasn't for Reynolds, who was ranging towards his glove side to get after that, we're talking about a tie game right now.
You're exactly right. Good job by Reynolds to cut that ball off, as it looks like the Blues will elect to intentionally walk Dominic Keegan, the 5-hole hitter.
Do you agree with that? Because he struck out his last at bat.
Keegan, he's 1 for 2 on the evening with a walk. So a double in the second, a walk in the fourth, and a strikeout in the sixth. But Ronnie Palmer, a little bit of chess here as he walks the bases loaded, maybe looking for a double play here for George Sutherland as he swings at the first pitch, base hit into right field. Varinos will score. Here comes Knight. The throw is cut off. The throw to third is in time. That was Keegan gunned down at third, but nonetheless, Sutherland swinging at the first pitch. Murphy and Knight coming around to score, so we said it, Ronnie Palmer trying to play a little bit of chess there, but it comes back to bite them. 2 runs coming around to score, and just like that, the Navigators have retaken the lead 4-3 here in the top of the 7th.
A back and forth, as you mentioned, a chess match. Palmer tried to be able to maybe get a key double play, but Sutherland swung at the first pitch, and Rouse kind of missed his location. It was a fastball in. Ramsey was sitting away, And now Northshore is back up again, 4-3 here in the 7th.
The 1-0 misses way inside, 2-0. And another interesting aspect of that decision is a guy with Rouse who definitely has electric stuff but can sometimes struggle to command it, loading the bases. You put him in a little bit of a bind there because he has to throw strikes. He's got nowhere to put Sutherland, and Sutherland probably thinking about that as he's going up, that Rouse knew he needed to throw a strike. Sitting first pitch fastball. Sutherland taking advantage with the 2 RBI single. That'll bring up Michael Wynn, the all-star left fielder for Northshore. He takes high and away, 3-1 the count now to the left fielder from Wofford College.
And a couple score updates in the FCBO. Pittsfield did defeat Nashua 1-0, and the Worcester Bravehearts are up 9-1 over Brockton in the top of the 9th.
3 balls, 1 strike, 2 away. The pitch catches the outside corner, so the count will run full here to Michael Wynn, 2 away, and that will release Sutherland from first.
And the reason why that Worcester game is important is because the Bristol Blues are behind Worcester. So if Worcester wins and Bristol loses, they fall behind another game in the loss column to win column.
That ball is lifted down the left field line. Osberg giving chase, but he runs out of room, foul territory. So we'll do it again. Justin Rouse trying to escape the 7th inning here. 2 runs already in for Northshore as they have retaken the lead. So a lot of offense here in the last few innings. It's been a back-and-forth affair. The Blues trying to keep this deficit to just 1 and leave it up to their offense. That one is lifted into right field, but playable. Stevens giving chase. He is there, and he will make the play for the final out of the inning. But the Navigators strike back here. They score 2 in the top half of the 7th. 4-3 they lead. So we'll stretch here at Muzzy Field. The Blues coming to bat, looking to rally as they trail by 1. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Back here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel, here in the bottom of the 7th, the Blues now trailing 4-3 after a 2-run rally by Northshore in the top half of the inning. Alex Leparco set to lead things off as he takes a ball inside from a new reliever for the Navigators, number 12, Spencer Brown in. The 1-0 misses way up and in, 2-0. Brown coming into this one, just his second appearance of the season. Just 1 inning pitched, a strikeout, and 2 walks. As Leparco takes strike 1. It'll be Leparco, Reynolds, Brereton. So the meat of the Bristol order looking to get things going here. The 2-1 pitch swung on, lifted into center field. Sutherland is there. He will make the play for the first out of the inning. Leparco is retired.
And with Spencer Brown on the mound, that will shut the door on Danny Ryan's evening. 1 inning pitched, 1 hit, 1 run. That run was earned. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 6 batters faced.
Dylan Reynolds now the 3-hole hitter. He takes strike 1. Reynolds 2 for 3 on the evening as he takes strike 2 on the outside corner. And back in the 5th, he had a big 2-out RBI single scoring Alex Leparco at the time, giving the Blues the lead. The 0-2 misses off the outside corner, 1-2. The 1-2 off speed served into left field, and that will be foul. So Reynolds' defensive swing there with 2 strikes, put it in play, but that one landed just to the left of the chalk. So we'll do it again, 1-2.
And if there's any way for Bristol to be able to start the rally, I think this is the perfect guy to be able to be up in Reynolds because he always has a knack to find a way to get on base.
The 1-2 swung on, fouled back. Reynolds only 1 strikeout on the entire season, which is really an astonishing stat for the outfielder from Fairfield. And we'll do it again here. The 1-2 swung on, grounded to the right side. Murphy is there. He fields and fires in time. Reynolds retired on the 4-3 putout.
And that's going to bring up Brereton with 2 outs. And now this is the kind of game where you start to really count the outs because now you have the rest of the 7th. If Brereton gets out here, you have 6 outs left to play with in the 8th and the 9th, 3 outs apiece.
Brereton takes strike 1 on the outside corner. Brereton 0 for 3 on the day. Grounded out to third in the 2nd, reached on an error in the 4th. As he lines that one past the third baseman, Varinos, into left field for a base hit. So for the 3rd inning in a row, Chris, the Blues have had a man reach with 2 outs, and they made something happen in the 5th as they ended up scoring 2 runs to take the lead. And they scored in the 6th again as Ethan Hunt, he reached after a strikeout. Couldn't be handled by Prentice. He came around to score on another wild pitch, and that'll bring up Teddy Haig, the designated hitter.
And it looked to be that Brown was kind of rushing a little bit towards home plate. I don't know if maybe because he felt like Brereton was going to go. With the Blues down and he's already picked off once, I don't think Brereton's going to go.
Haig rips that one into right field, and that'll get down for extra bases. Brereton is rounding second. He's being waved around by Ronnie Palmer. He is going to score without a throw. So another 2-out clutch hit for the Bristol Blues. This time it's Teddy Haig with a double scoring Richard Brereton, and the game is now tied at 4 here in the 7th.
And from week to week, and then you could even say from game to game, Teddy Haig has been improving every time out, and it's to the point now you see first pitch fastball high, he was able to tomahawk that, and that wasn't just a little droopler into right field. That was a liner.
Teddy Haig forcing the issue that he needs to be a bat in this Bristol lineup every night, and that'll bring up Peyton Stevens, the right fielder. As that ball smothered by Prentice. Good job by him there, not allowing Haig to advance to third. But, I mean, what can you say about this Bristol offense? Just another clutch hit after clutch hit and 2 out runs. They've scored 3 of them already. Excuse me, all 4 of their runs have come with runners on and 2 men out. That one fouled back. 1-1 now the count to Stevens, who's 1 for 3 on the evening.
5th, 6th, and now 7th with 2 outs that found a way to get on base one way or another, either a single, a walk, hit by pitch, however you call it, and they've been able to score it each time. Can you say the comeback kids?
The 1-1 swung on, grounded down the left side, but foul. 1-2 the count now to Stevens. And Chris, you're exactly right. And this game, I mean, the last 3 innings has just been back and forth, 3.5. I mean, the Navigators took the lead in the top of the 4th. They went up, 1-0, and then Bristol came back in the bottom of the 5th. They went up 2-1, and so on and so forth, and now we're tied up again. As Stevens lifts this one into the right center gap, it could be trouble, and that's going to get down for a base hit. Haig will score easily. Stevens rounding second on his way to third. He'll be in there with a triple. The ball gets by, but he's going to pump the brakes there, but another 2-out double for Bristol. This time, Peyton Stevens gives the Blues the lead, 5-4. I mean, what can you say about this offense, Chris? They will never say die. Now their 5th run of the ball game, all of those coming with 2 outs in the inning. So the 2-out rallies have been killer for Northshore tonight, just unable to shut the door on this Bristol offense. And if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And Bristol has fought back all night. And with a triple, Peyton Stevens just 90 feet away from home plate.
And not being able to get that final out, executing to the to the point of where they have 2 outs, but that 3rd out has been hard to come by in the last couple innings alone, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. You can tell 2-1-2, and I'm not calling a football player or baseball pitch. That's been the score for the Blues, and North Shore again going to have to fight back.
Ethan Hunt, the center fielder, takes an off-speed upstairs, 1-0. As you can hear now, this crowd is really energized, and into this one, the 5 runs off 10 hits for Bristol, the 1-0, right down the heart of the plate, but Hunt not able to connect with that one as he fouls it back. 1-1 the count now.
And you just get that feeling that the Blues right here, Peyton on third, you have to drive him in because you know North Shore is going to fight back. They have all game.
The 1-1 lifted into left field. Win is there. He will make the play to end the inning, but not before the Blues strike for 2 runs with 2 outs. It's deja vu all over again, Chris, as they take a 5-4 lead. We're going to head to the 8th, but a lot of ball game left to be played. You can imagine a lot more runs are going to be scored in this one. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel.
Top of the 8th, a seesaw game back and forth between Northshore and Bristol, 5-4 after Teddy Haig and then Peyton Stevens kind of trading places per se, except Peyton Stevens got a triple instead of a double, so we kind of outdid him there. But we have a pitching change for Bristol. It's Kyle Haig. He's on the mound for Justin Rouse, and he's going to be facing 8, 9, and top.
An important inning and really a bunch of lead changes, a bunch of ties in this one. So it's going to come up to whose bullpen can figure it out first and put a 0 up on the board. I mean, we haven't had one since the top of the 5th. So Haig coming in a big situation here. And we said it, the Blues probably needed some insurance runs, but if your bullpen can shut things down right here, you're going to put yourself in a good position, especially with Neil McDermott lurking. He can come in and shut down the 9th. This is a big inning for Haig.
1-0 is skied into right center. Hunt goes back, still back. He's at the track, and he makes the catch. A big first out for the Bristol Blues, being able to get the leadoff batter for the first out here in the top of the 8th.
You said it, and that one was a rocket into right field, skied high. But Hunt able to track it down for the first out of the inning. Prentice is retired, and some numbers for Haig. He's making his 15th appearance. All of them out of the bullpen. He's 2-0 with a 4.28 ERA, 23 strikeouts in 21 innings pitched, giving up 19 hits.
And that'll bring up DiLoretto. He also swings at the first pitch, fisted, and just over the head of the second baseman, Andrew Haig. And that ends his rather sluggish day. First 2 at-bats were strikeouts via the swing and also looking, and then was hit by a pitch in the 6th. And now he's able to get a hit on the board. 1 for 4 is the 9-hitter.
Speaking of a sluggish day, you got Sal Frelick, the leadoff man for Northshore. He's 0 for 4, but he is a ticking time bomb. We saw in that July 4th game, he was 0 for 4, headed into the top of the 9th, then came up with a huge, booming extra base hit, came around to score, and that was a big hit for Northshore, but it looks like he will not have his way here as Reynolds fields the fly ball for the second out of the inning. So you got to give credit to Haig, Chris. I mean, he is retiring Frelick, which is a huge out in the 8th inning. You have to imagine that's probably his last at-bat of the ballgame.
You would think so, but then again, there's always a chance that Frelick could get another at-bat because, there's a chance where a couple people will get on. If there's a, heaven forbid that they bat through the order. So we might very well not see him again, but the way this game is going, you just can't count anything out. DiLoretto on at first base with 2 down. Marinos at the plate. First pitch ball outside, 1-0.
Marinos having a night himself, 2 for 4. 2 base hits, came around to score back in the 7th. So he's been arguably the hottest hitter in this Northshore lineup.
1-0 to Marinos, fouled back, 1-1. Jason Hebner warming up in the bullpen. Now my question to you was before the game, with McDermott throwing yesterday in the All-Star game, and we know how pitches and innings are counted in terms of the FCBL, can he throw today? Because I don't know how many pitches he threw yesterday. He may, this is just a question, he may not be available. Slicing foul. Pitch was inside. Varinos had to fight it off.
I mean,
2 for 4 on the day is Varinos.
My response to that, I said, it was just 1 inning. McDermott, he's used to throwing just 1 inning, and with the 3-day break, he didn't throw the Tuesday or the Monday beforehand, so he had a couple days rest. 1 inning is not that big of a deal, but as you can see, Hebner just warming up, no sign of McDermott, so an interesting move here from Ronnie Palmer.
1-2 is ripped into left, but Reynolds is going to pull a little bit of a deke move, and DiLoretto is going to try to attempt a third, and he's going to be tagged out. What a throw by Reynolds, being able to pick up DiLoretto, trying to stretch what would have been a potential first and second, but try to go to third base, but instead, Reynolds making the strong throw and getting the out, the lead runner. And now we're heading to the bottom of the 8th. We're going to keep it right here at Muzzy Field. And that was a nice job by Reynolds, AJ.
I mean, what? I mean, we got to give it up to these players out here. This has been a fantastic baseball game, and that play from Reynolds, just another notch in the belt. I mean, that ball was a dying line drive. I personally thought that Reynolds could have had that one in the air, but I don't know if he's got a little handshake wink-wink with Varinos there, letting him get the base hit, but ending the inning and a heads-up play there. DiLoretto, I mean, you always hear you never want to make the first or third out at third base, and testing the arm of Reynolds, and it turns out that was a terrible decision as the Navs were going to be in business. First and second, 2 outs with their 3-hole hitter Murphy coming up. I mean, that was the rally that they were looking for, but Reynolds able to cut that down prematurely. A big heads-up play there, able to fire that one into third for the 3rd out. And Chris, it is the bottom of the 8th, and if you're the Blues, you only got 3 outs to get, but some insurance runs would be huge, and you would think 1, even 2 would just be a huge confidence booster for this team in the dugout, because this one's been back and forth, and although there have been a good amount of rallies, it's just been 1-run, 2-run rallies. So if you can increase this lead to 3 or 4 with the way your bullpen's going right now, if you can possibly have Neil McDermott coming in to nail things down, I mean, that's a huge advantage Bristol has.
No, I couldn't agree with you more on that, AJ. Spencer Brown will be on the mound for another inning of work in the bottom of the 8th. He will be facing 8-9, then Tom Ramsey, Haig, and then Osberg. If any of them get on, Alex Laparco. First pitch to Ramsey. Strike inside. Ramsey, the last, or rather all 3 of his appearances at the plate have been up the middle, and he's been rewarded 2 out of the 3 times. The 0-1. Breaking ball in. Call the ball 1-1. Now on Saturday, we do have a game at 4 o'clock. A little bit earlier than usual on the weekend, but that's because it's the military appreciation game against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Pitch in the dirt, but no harm, nobody's on base, 2-1. Now the gates do open at 1:30, and right before first pitch, there will be a helicopter that lands in center field. So, and the weather looks to be okay until at night, so we should have the game thus far. 2-1 slicing foul on the right field line, 2-2. And the closer for the Blues, Neil McDermott, is warming up in the pen, and he will pitch the top of the 9th. And Ramsey fighting off another pitch.
McDermott, he actually picked up the victory in the All-Star game, throwing just 1 inning. No strikeouts, which is a bit odd for McDermott, but a clean sheet for him. He picked up the victory.
2-2, pitch inside. Ramsey goes down via the K. And he's kind of questioning rather the umpire about maybe where that pitch was, but nonetheless, Ramsey, he's got to quiet down because he wants that part of the zone for McDermott in the top of the 9th.
You're exactly right, and if you're a catcher right there, you just kind of shake your head and put your head down and get right back in the dugout because you want that pitch in the top of the 9th. And just looking through the box score from that All-Star game, McDermott with just 1 inning pitched, no walks, no strikeouts, no hits. So you would have to think that the pitch count did not get that high. So, as you said, Chris, McDermott now warming up, so he's readily available, and it looks like Ronnie Palmer is going to pull the trigger, especially with just a 1-run lead.
A liner that Varinos tried to be able to maybe lost in the light and was so hardly hit that he kind of lost it for a second, and that's going to be an easy double for Andrew Haig. And that's the kind of speed that he has. He could turn a single into a double, and he could even turn some singles into a triple depending on where it's hit.
I mean, just look through the 6 through 9 here in this lineup for Bristol. I mean, Peyton Stevens, 2 for 4 on the night. He had that big triple with 2 outs back in the 7th. Ethan Hunt, he's 0 for 4, but he came around to score after he struck out and reached base on a couple wild pitches. And then Bryce Ramsey, 2 for 4 himself, and now Andy Haig, 2 for 3 with a walk. I mean, the bottom half of this lineup has done absolute miracles for this offense tonight. They've really been leading the charge for Bristol, and another rally here brewing for Bristol. And as we said earlier, an insurance run would be about the nail in the coffin, especially when you got a guy who's as automatic as Neil McDermott is warming up in the bullpen.
And Osborne getting his 5th at-bat of the day as we're back up to the top of the order with Leparco on deck, Reynolds in the hole. 1-1 Kellen Osborne, Spencer Brown in a little bit of a funk here, but gets a ground ball right to Murph, or rather right to the second baseman Murphy, and gets the out at first. 2 down, runner does advance to third base, Andrew Haig. And Alex Leparco comes up with 2 down. You talked about it, AJ, as well, trying to get that insurance run to help out McDermott, where he hasn't really looked like a guy who needs much. If he at least has 1 run, he can get you that save. Pitch in the dirt, 1-0 to Leparco.
And another 2-out situation with a runner in scoring position, and we've seen it all night from Bristol. They've been able to come through. Let's see if Leparco can come through in this situation.
Fastball in, but too much. 2-0. Haig on at third as he had a hard liner that got past Varinos and up the third baseline. Leparco heading the count 3-0. The day that started out picture perfect, not a cloud in the sky. Sun was beating down towards Muzzy Field, and this game has been, just like the day, pleasant and exciting. Leparco works a 4-pitch walk, first and third, with Reynolds at the plate.
Reynolds coming up here. An RBI to his name on the evening. 2 hits, and a third would be huge as he came up with that clutch 2-out single back in the 5th that gave the Blues a 3-2 lead. Trying to do the same here, give the Blues some insurance.
That looked to me like, AJ, it was more of a pitch around because he didn't throw him 1 fastball. It was all off speed. Fastball outside, 0-1.
I don't know if you want to pitch around to the 3-hole hitter Reynolds, who's
Exactly.
always a tough out. He's going to see a lot of pitches here.
0-1 to Reynolds. Gets away from Prentice. He can't find it. Wild pitch for Northshore. And Leparco's going to get all the way to third. And Varinos had to stretch out. Otherwise, that could have been another. And just like that, 6-4 on the wild pitch. Leparco gets all the way to third. And Haig comes in with ease.
And in a tight game like this, I mean, wild pitches have been absolutely killer. What is that? 5, 6, maybe even 7 wild pitches now for Northshore, and they've been absolutely killer. As an insurance run is just another notch in the belt for Bristol.
On the hands, Reynolds is a little bit disgusted. Wind coming in, makes the catch for the third and final out. But the Blues get another on a wild pitch, 6-4. They are up over the North Shore Navigators. We're going to keep it right here, as it looks to be that Neil McDermott is going to potentially be coming into this game. We'll get you some numbers on him, and we'll be right back right here from historic Muzzy Field. Neil McDermott on the mound with the Blues up 6-4 here in the top of the ninth. Will be facing, as he throws a first pitch ball, will be 3, 4, and 5. Murphy, Knight, and Keegan. If any of them get on, Sutherland. And you can say, AJ, that this is probably the toughest part of the order that he's going to face against this Navigator team. 1-0 to the left side. Ooh, took a bad bounce over the shortstop, Osberg. And that's just bad luck right there.
Tough bounce there from Osberg, and it was really just a chopper. And what you're taught to do there is charge in on that ball and field it and fire because it's moving so slowly. But that one hit the lip, and Osberg unable to reach up and grab that one. So Murphy is aboard with a base hit. And that'll bring the tying run to the plate in J.P. Knight, who's had a whale of an evening. 2 for 4, a triple in the 6th, and a double in the 7th. And he's had his fingerprints all over this one. So a bit of some tension here in the 9th with Neil McDermott, who's normally locked down, potentially in some trouble here.
I will say, though, I mean, that wasn't like a bad pitch per se. It was a good pitch. It was inside, and he got the ground ball. It just took a bad hop off the grass, and if Osberg was 2 inches higher, that's probably an out. But why not, a little play like that, let me just overpower you with 94.
I mean, this is a fun at bat right here. Power versus power. What you see is what you get from McDermott. Talking to Jordy Shiner before the game, and he said that at the All-Star Combine, he was clocked at about 94, so.
Try to expand, go a little bit more away, doesn't get the call. 2-1. Murphy on at second base. J.P. Knight at the plate, who AJ mentioned, has had a fine day thus far. Keegan on deck with Sutherland in the hole. The 2-1. And Ramsey shaking his head. That hit the spot exactly. 2-2. Neil McDermott, the leader in the FCBO in saves. 19 innings pitched, 39 strikeouts. Pitch inside, strike 3. And McDermott goes down gets his first strikeout. Knight goes down via the K. Now bring up Keegan. Keegan was able to get a double back in the second inning and was also intentionally walked back in the previous inning as well before back in the 7th inning when they scored 2 on the 2 RBI double by Sutherland. The 0-1. Pitch is high, 1-1. Blues 2 outs away from being able to get another victory when the Worcester Bravehearts have won 9-1. The 1-1, runners going on the pitch. Throw to second's high, but Osberg backing up Haig so that ball does not get anywhere farther past the second base bag and keeps the runner exactly where he is. Stolen base for Murphy. The 1-2. A little bit of a cutter. Ramsey kind of get out of his crouch as that pitch was way outside. 2-2, a 1 out. Sutherland on deck. The 2-2. Breaking ball outside. Strike 3. Second consecutive strikeout. Keegan goes down via the K. Knight and Keegan. And that will bring up Sutherland. First pitch foul back. 0-1 on Sutherland.
2 away here in the top of the 9th. Neil McDermott trying to shut the door here. 0-1 the count to George Sutherland as he swings through a fastball. And the North Shore Navigators down to their final strike of the evening. 0-2 the count to the North Shore center fielder. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The Bristol Blues with a 2-run lead as Sutherland fouls that one back. Oh, and 2 now to Sutherland. The pitch up and in. 1-2, and for Sutherland, that cannot be a comfortable feeling sitting in that batter's box watching low to mid 90s whiz by your chin. 1-2 the count. Murphy leading off second. His run means nothing. Sutherland, the potential game-tying run at the plate, off speed, misses outside as the count evens. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 away here in the top of the 9th. The pitch grounded to second. Haig is there. He fields and fires in time. That's the ball game, folks. The Bristol Blues take this one 6-4, your final, as they improve to 23-17 on the year. A great back and forth affair here at Muzzy Field, but your Blues emerge on top. Neil McDermott, another save for him. It was a fantastic back and forth affair. McDermott picking up his 14th save of the season. Came into this one leading the league in saves and leading the league in strikeouts. Shuts the door for the Blues as they take this one 6-4, your final here at Muzzy Field. Stick around, folks, for the post-game interview. We're going to have Chris Saunders down on the field. I believe he's going to be speaking with Dylan Reynolds, one of the heroes for tonight's game. Reynolds finishing the evening 2 for 5 with 1 RBI, and really it was tough. Chris and I were having a conversation talking about who to go down there and talk with, and it was really a difficult decision because everyone contributed in this one. Alex Leparco with a 1 for 4 performance. Dylan Reynolds 2 for 5. Richard Brereton 1 for 4 with a run scored. Teddy Haig 1 for 4 with a run scored and an RBI. Peyton Stevens with a 2 for 4 performance with an RBI, a big 2-out triple, and Bryce Ramsey a 2-hit performance. Ethan Hunt went 0 for 4, but a hustle play. He ended up scoring on a couple wild pitches. And I see now it's our Chris Saunders down on the field. Looks like he's going to be talking with Neil McDermott, who picked up the save in tonight's game.
I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, we're good. Sure.
So how'd you feel today? Good?
Felt good. Felt like I could locate my breaking ball well, so that really helps.
Neil
was a
McDermott,
tough,
he picked up the
tough out by
victory
Osprey.
in the All-Star
Yeah,
game.
I mean, if he was a little bit
A
taller.
back and
but-
forth affair.
Nothing you can do about that.
A couple of lead changes, a couple of ties.
Just got to get the point.
And now we're going to send it down to Chris Saunders on the field with the Bristol Blues' very own Neil McDermott. Chris, take it away.
Chris Saunders here on the field with the closer for the Bristol Blues, Neil McDermott. And he's not only the closer for the Blues, he also leads the FCBO with 13 saves. First off, Neil, congrats on your appearance in the All-Star game. Heard you topped out at 94. Very impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a great experience overall. I mean, a lot of great players in it, so it was just enjoyable to be around that high level of competition and just be a part of that great atmosphere.
Now, in that All-Star game in particular, before we get to tonight's game, was there anything that you felt like you learned? I know it was a short experience, but that's something for you that you can really take forward in your career.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like as far as the level you get, kids are going to hit fastballs. So, I mean, learn like just this whole experience here, not just the All-Star game, just locating fastballs, throwing your breaking ball for strikes, just being consistent with everything, and just trusting your stuff, throwing everything with intent. So, I learned a lot throughout everything, not just the All-Star game. But the All-Star game was really eye-opening, too, because it was just unreal competition there, too.
You talk about eye-opening. This game in particular, from the 6th inning on, it was back and forth. And I said on the air, you guys are like the comeback kids. It doesn't matter what the score is. You find a way to come back every time. Who do you credit that to?
I mean, our offense just comes back every game. It's impressive. You know, it's just one guy, next guy up, next guy up. You know, if someone's cold, I mean, the next person will pick them up. And it's just great to see. As a pitcher, you know your guys are going to come through for you. We had a great start today. And bullpen threw well. I mean, a couple here and there, but, I mean, our bullpen's been solid all year. And you just know you're going to get that from the offense every game. So it gives you confidence as a pitcher as well.
And lastly, you stepped on the mound. We were talking right before I was able to interview you, and you said your curveball was on tonight. Why was it?
I think I was just trusting it, you know, throwing it as hard as I could with the same intent as I do with the fastball. You know, just trusting my stuff, knowing that it's good enough to beat the hitters. So I think it's like a mental thing, big time. Just knowing that it's there. But yeah, just throwing it with intent and keeping the same mindset with the fastball too.
The leader for the FCBO in saves, Neil McDermott. Fine job today.
Thank you, sir.
Back to you, AJ.
Chris, thanks so much. Special thanks to Neil McDermott, the big flame-throwing righty out of Seton Hill University, as the Blues now improve to 24-17 after the 6-4 victory over the Northshore Navigators. The Navs went 4 runs on 11 hits with 1 error, and the Blues 6 runs on 11 hits, no errors. And after an off day tomorrow on Friday, we'll be right back here at Muzzy Field for some Bristol Blues action between the Blues and the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, the leaders of the FCBL. So it should be a good one, folks. We want to thank Jack O'Donnell for helping us out here, especially with some technical difficulties early on. Thank you guys for sticking around here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. The Blues emerged victorious in this one. 6-4 your final will be back here on Saturday at 4 p.m. Don't miss out. Thanks for sticking around, folks. We'll see you Saturday.